Ladies and gentlemen, sorry that took a minute. My actual computer just died, and I had to call somebody else that has the back end information. And just like me and Bryce last week, where my computer died at the last minute and froze, and I couldn't stop the show. This time I couldn't start the show. I'm on a good streak
Our,
on the
yeah,
60-yard dash.
we're already off to a great start.
Always, as I have my computer trying to boot back up, I had to restart it. But I called somebody. We got things figured out. I have no idea how many people are watching right now, but thank you for joining us. I won't be running comments until I get this back up. I also won't be able to change the banner below us. It's a rough day, guys. But we're going to open up the show. Oh, well, let me do an actual intro. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Thank you for joining us for the 60-yard dash. Next to me that way, I got Bryce, who's been with me since the start of this show, almost. And we have Austin rejoining us after taking a week off last week.
It's good to be back.
How are you guys?
I'm great.
Doing pretty good.
You have to be great, given you're a Packers fan.
Oh, it's a good time to be a cheesehead.
Us Patriots fans not doing too well.
No.
We got no quarterback.
I'm doing great. I mean, from what I saw last night, Cam would have been there. We win that game, so I'm doing all right this week.
I agree.
Oh, I fully agree. If Cam Newton started that game, 100% that was going to be a win because that defense played lights out phenomenally. There we go. I got comments back. We got somebody commenting. Hi, Heather, how are you? Brandon, how are you today? And we got to go,
Hey,
Pack,
my
go.
Mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. So, we're going to dive straight into the biggest news that came out of this week. Bill O'Brien got fired.
It's crazy.
Nah.
I was in the middle. I had 2 hours to go in a 20-hour car ride on my way home from Wisconsin. I'm driving. I look at my watch, and the Game Changer Sports Network private chat is blowing up that Bill O'Brien got fired.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think about this?
I mean, it was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bryce. I couldn't hear what Jake said.
I said. Let's start us off. Let's go.
All right. I saw it coming. I thought he'd be the first coach to be fired just because of the offseason trade with DeAndre Hopkins. That automatically put him under the magnifying glass. You can't make a trade for you can't trade your superstar away like that and then come out and lose games. Once they dropped 3, I was like, all right, if Brian doesn't win this week, he's out. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I didn't think Bill O'Brien was going to be the first to go, and I don't think he's, by any stretch of the imagination, the worst coach in the NFL. You got guys like Adam Gase who still have a job. Dan Quinn still has a job, miraculously. I didn't think it was going to be Bill O'Brien, but I did think that Bill O'Brien was going to be on a hot seat. And I like what you said, Bryce, about, trading DeAndre Hopkins definitely puts you under the microscope. And if you trade DeAndre Hopkins and then, you're firing on all cylinders on offense and Deshaun Watson doesn't look lost, then, I mean, maybe, you're not as under fire for making a trade like that. But you can't trade that star player and then see all the negative effects of not having that guy on the field, because no matter how much money the Arizona Cardinals decided that DeAndre Hopkins was worth, I mean, that might have probably just cost you winning that division,
for sure,
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that sets you back a few years for sure. And that's hurting Deshaun Watson at the same time.
Yeah. Deshaun doesn't look the same without DeAndre Hopkins.
So do you think this – go ahead.
I was because they don't have a first or second round pick this year. So, I mean,
yeah.
What's your odds of replacing?
They also don't have a first round pick next year.
Yes, I mean, your whole future is gone. I mean, Deshaun Watson's already, 25?
Yep.
So by the time you got a first-round pick, he's going to be 27, 28. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just a good situation.
They gave Bill O'Brien way too much power. Everyone knows he was the head coach. This year, he was named the GM. There was another job this man had in Houston. He played the lead counsel role. And for those of you that don't know what the lead counsel does, They are basically the actual negotiator on new contracts. So if you come in and let's say you're Deshaun Watson, you're coming off a torn ACL, what the league council does is, hey, you have a torn ACL, you're not worth X amount of money. I want to pay you this amount of money. The kind of stuff that coaches keep behind closed doors because they have the guy to fall back on with the league council. He had that role. So now you have Deshaun Watson now knows that, okay, Bill O'Brien doesn't like me because I had a torn ACL and doesn't think I'm worth that much. He doesn't respect me as a player. That's a tough role for a coach and or GM to be in as the league counsel. Because the league counsel at the end of the day is who takes the blame on who's getting paid on how much.
Yeah, that's insane. I didn't know that until you brought it up. That's absolutely crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if the owners they're going to be pressured to sell the team. I mean, why give that man? I mean, what qualifications he had to be in that position? I can kind of see GM, but a league counsel, I don't see what qualifications he had to be there.
Yeah,
there isn't any.
So now, I have seen some reports on possible replacements being college guys. So I've seen a lot of people, pushing for a Lincoln Riley or a Dabo Swinney, although Dabo Swinney had confirmed on his Twitter that Deshaun Watson hasn't reached out to him or anything like that. Not that it would be Deshaun Watson's choice, really. I mean, it's upper management. I'm sure Watson might get a say. I don't know if he's really even earned that right yet. But I'd like to see a really offensive-minded coach that can kind of embrace Deshaun Watson and build an offense around what he does well. I don't know what Bill O'Brien's identity was. Deshaun Watson was never able to have a running game. Even Patrick Mahomes now has a running game with, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I think he's going to be a star. So you really need a guy who's going to push what they can do on offense rather than give Deshaun the ball and hope that he can save us every game, because that's not going to work. My one criticism is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it was only Bill O'Brien that was fired. I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but he needs to go too.
Isn't it Romeo Cornell? Is it Romeo? Romeo Cornell?
I think Romeo.
Yeah, he's the head coach now.
Yeah, Romeo.
Yeah, he's the interim head coach.
That defense is awful. That is a team right now. They're in the same position to me as Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson are both capable quarterbacks if you have a team around them, but there's no team around either of them right now, and they just need to nuke both of them.
I fully agree.
Go ahead.
I fully agree, and I absolutely think it's going to be a college guy that takes over. Whether it's a Lincoln Riley, Nick Saban's name has been out there a few times. I doubt he's making the transition, but no, he loves Alabama too much. He loves college too much.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name in Boston College. His name has been floated out there.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name either, but
yeah.
And I believe Oregon's coach. Mind you, I don't know college nearly as much as I know the NFL. I don't know these guys' names. I just know Lincoln Riley. I know Nick Saban, and whatever Harbaugh brother's not in the NFL. That's all the coaches I know in college.
I'd like to see Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City. That's who I'd like to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Bieniemy either.
He's a culture guy. I mean, you got to change the whole culture in that locker room, and I think he's already been in the NFL, been around NFL guys. I think that's who you bring in.
I don't see McDaniels taking another head coaching job because he blew off Indy, and that didn't sit well with the rest of the league. So
yeah, I agree. I think Josh McDaniels and Deshaun Watson might be a nice fit. But I just don't see McDaniels in that head coaching league or that head coaching role. I mean, he's always been that guy in the shadows, and he did get that opportunity to be the main guy.
His name was Heffley. Yes,
wasn't that great. So
Boston College's coach Heffley, however you pronounce that. But yes, Andrew, thank you. Yes, that was who I was thinking of. So there'll be a few coaches looking for a new job if they get a new job by the end of the year. Let's be real. Adam Gase is going to be gone by the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Dan Quinn is going to be gone by the end of the year.
Yes.
Who else right now, 4 weeks in, is on your hot seat? Zach Taylor in Cincinnati.
I don't think Zach Taylor's on the hot seat. I think we're overlooking a guy who just got a job. I think Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat.
Yeah, that if anything, at least Mike McCarthy's defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan's definitely on the hot seat. That defense is atrocious, and that's the guy McCarthy brought in.
Yeah, I think McCarthy's play calling is old. He seems like he's trying to be innovative, but it's not working. He's just not the guy that is going to be able to turn Dallas around and help them actually realize the potential that they have, because no one can deny that there's a ton of potential on that team. I think Mike McCarthy's going to have a very short stint in Dallas, and if they continue on the path that they're on right now, I could see a week 9 or 10 firing for McCarthy if they're not winning games.
He's not even running the ball. That's
no.
Dallas.
He's taking the ball
almost last in the league. I mean, that's how they're built: get the lead and then hand it to Zeke and maintain it. And they can't. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do that with that defense. But I'm saying that's how the offense is built. And
can we just talk about the fact that Dak Prescott is out here proving he's an elite quarterback, yet the defense can't stop anything?
No, we can't.
Oh, really?
He's playing from behind. He's having to throw the ball.
From every single good game he's had has been in garbage time.
He's playing from behind.
When you're behind. Whoa. Garbage time.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, I did too, Bryce.
I knew this was coming up. That's why I was ready.
No garbage time when you're behind. Garbage time is when you're in the fourth quarter with the lead, blowing shit.
I'm glad you brought that up, because in the Cleveland game, he had 5 possessions where he fumbled the ball once and had 5 first downs. That was when the score was 14-14. That was Dak Prescott's offense. And then they get behind 28-14, and all of a sudden he throws for 257 and 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You don't get credit for digging your team out of a hole that you dug.
That literally is what elite quarterbacks are made of. Digging out of holes.
No. Jake. He dug the hole. He digs the holes.
Dak is a good quarterback. Just that's what he is. He's a good quarterback. You can build a franchise around him, but he's not an elite guy. He's not.
He can win you games when everything's going right and he's playing with a lead, but he is not the kind of guy that can play from behind and win games, and we've seen that this year.
Strongly disagree.
And he should have
when your defense is giving up a touchdown on basically every single drive they're on. Brady and Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers aren't winning those games.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, I really do.
Time and time again in shootouts, somebody has to lose, and it's typically the defense that can't stop a single drive. Packers have been there, Patriots have been there, Seattle's been there. Every quarterback reacts the same.
All I'm gonna say is his stats are inflated because he's playing from behind.
Exactly. I think it'd be interesting to. Sorry, Bryce, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think it'd be interesting to see. Pro Football Focus.
By all means, come on, let's go.
Pro Football
you want to
Focus
talk the talk? Let's go. Let's walk the walk. Let's go. Get on here.
Pro Football Focus has a stat that I really like called risky throws or risk-worthy throws. I think it'd be very interesting to see where Dak falls in that category. Watching the Browns game, he had a lot of throws that if the Browns had the secondary that they have on paper and that's not on injured reserve, they're missing guys like Grant Delpit right now, and
we don't know what Grant Delpit's actually going to be. Let's start there.
Brady Williams, he would have had almost 4 or 5 picks yesterday. He was throwing the ball to the defense. So I don't know how that 275 in the fourth quarter doesn't impress me when you're down by 27.
Yeah. And let's not forget, he's got probably the best receiving core in the league.
Absolutely, he does.
No doubt. There's no doubt about it. He's got 2 number ones.
I am currently looking up exactly what you just said there, Austin, on Pro Football Focus. But I am not. Yeah, I'm not coming across it.
Yeah, I don't know how you put any stock in what Dak Prescott.
I'll just say this: there's 2 teams in Texas. If you flop them, put Dak in Houston and Deshaun Watson in Dallas. Deshaun Watson will at least have an NFC title appearance.
We have a sound issue on your end there, Bryce.
Deshaun Watson would flourish in Dallas. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'd have an NFC title appearance.
Did you hear what he said?
Can you hear?
You're coming in muffled all of a sudden. So we got Rick Aney with Nagy is another one on the hot seat.
Yep.
You'll see at least 7 to 8 coaches gone.
Yeah, I agree. Nagy is definitely on the hot seat. I think he wanted to start Nick Foles from the jump. There's a reason they brought him in. I don't think he really believes in Trubisky. But now Nick Foles isn't working. So where do you go from here? I mean, you kind of lobbied for this guy to, come from Jacksonville to bring him in and pay him, a decent amount of money to compete with Mitch Trubisky. That's kind of the narrative he was pushing, that, it's to push Mitch. Well, he didn't push Mitch because Mitch Trubisky looks the same as he did last year. And they bench him, and then Nick Foles gets to start, and he plays good for one game, and then he plays against a real defense in the Indianapolis Colts, and he reverts back into Nick Foles. So I don't know where that leaves Chicago. I mean, they're a bad 3-1 team.
I fully agree. They shouldn't be 3-1.
No,
quite frankly. At best 2-2, but even that's pushing it.
They're a 1-3 team disguised as a 3-1 team.
Exactly. Denver. Are they in? What are they? 1-3 right now? Are they a 1-3 team if everybody's healthy?
Who? You cut out. I still can't hear him.
We can't hear Bryce at all. The Denver Broncos.
The Broncos. With a healthy Drew Lock, are they 1-3? No, I believe they're a 2-2 team. I think they'd at least have won another one of those games. They played a rough schedule. Pittsburgh's a rough front seven to play against. They play New England next. I mean, they have a tough schedule.
They're playing New England without a quarterback. Does Denver stand a chance in this game?
That is true. I like Drew Lock a lot. I think what he could do with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton could be really nice. And, if they build a little bit more of an offensive line for him in Denver, I mean, he doesn't have a left or a right tackle, and the interior of the offensive line's not good either. I think they could have something there, but right now, I think they win one more game with Drew Lock. He's not a generational talent. He's not the guy that's going to take you to 4-0 with nothing, but you can win games with him when everything's going right. You can build a team around that.
Bryce, do we have sound from you yet?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear Bryce.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, so this comment by Andrew Martin here. Can we think about Watson not actually being an elite quarterback? First off, who's calling Watson an elite quarterback? Sure as hell ain't me. He's been rather pedestrian without Hopkins. He was pedestrian with Hopkins. Has some durability issues. I want to see him better with a better run game. I'm cooling on Deshaun. There's a whole lot to unpack here.
Have you watched the Texans game? He runs for his life, and he has been the last 3 years. That's. I don't think
anybody in the entire media world that is calling Deshaun Watson elite.
I think here's what I'm gonna say. He has the potential to be elite, unlike Dak, which we were just talking about.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson is a generational talent that just needs a team to actually build around him, because he's not getting that right now in Houston. He's got no defense. He's never had a running game. Bill O'Brien's been his coach his entire career. I mean, outside of DeAndre Hopkins, he's never had any capable players on offense. I mean, you could say Will Fuller, but Will Fuller's been injured, left and right. Now he has Brandon Cooks. What?
He's a gadget player at best. That's what he is.
I mean, I'd like to see Deshaun Watson with an Ezekiel Elliott, a Cowboys offensive line, a Michael Gallup, an Amari Cooper, and a CeeDee Lamb, and see what that looks like.
That's a Super Bowl team.
That is a Super Bowl team.
Would you, on both ends, think about this from both, whoever the GM ends up being in Houston, on both ends, do a Dak Prescott for Deshaun Watson straight-up trade?
No. Absolutely not. I mean, you in Dallas, you would, because you'd get rid of Dak Prescott. You don't have to make a new contract. You inherit Deshaun Watson's contract. But if you're the Houston Texans, no, you're downgrading at quarterback. And you're putting a quarterback that doesn't perform well in a bad situation in a worse situation. Because
Dak Prescott in the second-round pick for Deshaun Watson.
No. There's no way I do that trade.
I'm moving Deshaun Watson for Dak Prescott.
What I was saying
for what happened
about
going to a rebuild. At this rate,
It's
both
just,
teams are going into a rebuild.
If Dak would have started out in Houston, Dak would be out of the league. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Dak
He'd be out of the
Prescott
league.
would be a backup by now.
I disagree about Watson. He's a QB that needs to have talented wide receivers to make him a good quarterback versus Rodgers makes his wide receiver. Whoa, 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 whoa!
Let's hear it. I want to hear the blasphemy that's about to come out.
Rodgers makes his receivers above average. Rodgers is not Tom Brady. Rodgers is not Peyton Manning.
Who was Rodgers throwing to yesterday?
That's a good point. I was going to say that. His top two guys were out.
I'm gonna preface this by saying this entire weekend I missed because I was in a car.
Oh, okay. Well, Jake, let me fill you in. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 touchdowns to our backup tight end, Robert Tonyan. 3 touchdowns. He was throwing to guys like Darius Shepard, who we signed off the practice squad this week. Our number 1 receiver was Marquez Valdez-Scantling because Alan Lazard is out for 6 weeks and Devontae Adams was sat because we didn't need him against Atlanta. That was basically the reason.
Here's what I'll say to that, though, Austin. They were playing Atlanta.
Yeah,
Kendall Sheffield, Isaiah Oliver are their top 2 corners. So, I mean, we got to kind of take that into effect.
But what I will say is that Aaron Rodgers, in the last 4 years, the most elite receiver he's had is Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is an elite receiver. But without Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers is 5-0. He wins regardless of who he's throwing to.
I mean, well, that kind of depends on who he's playing to.
But,
I don't know. Yeah.
Whoever
I get
he
what
played
you're
against, he makes it work. And again, yesterday throwing to guys like Valdez-Scantling and Darius Shepard, and then the week before, I mean, he was throwing to Alan Lazard was the number 1 receiver. He filled right in for Devontae Adams. So Rodgers definitely is making his receivers better because he has the least amount of touchdowns to a first-round pick.
You know what's more disappointing than the Patriots losing 3 Super Bowls?
What's that?
Having 37 years of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and only managing 2 Super Bowls.
You can blame that on management.
Here's the only thing I'll say about Rodgers. If he was that good, if he made every receiver better, there wouldn't have been such an uproar when they took Jordan Love in the first round. Because everybody said it was a bad move.
Oh my God!
Hey,
you again, Bryce. First of all.
Yeah, no, it's Gavin. It's 2 now because he's thrown 2 touchdowns to Mercedes Lewis, his 36-year-old tight end.
Why is this a narrative?
Why is what?
In all reality, minus Randy Moss, who I assume was a first-round pick. First-round picks how many touchdowns has Tom Brady thrown to first-round picks? Because the Patriots never took a goddamn wide receiver in the first round.
Thing that killed Harry was the first one.
That's such an annoying narrative.
But you said outside of Randy Moss. Randy Moss is one of the best receivers ever. He's a top 3 all time.
He was
wasn't drafted by the Patriots and only spent 1 single season, a year and a half in New England.
And he's still
that year and a half had like 22
that
touchdowns.
still means that he had more touchdowns than first-round picks.
The wide receiver, you don't have to get a wide receiver in the first round to be good.
Devontae Adams was a second-round pick.
Exactly. That narrative is the most annoying narrative in football.
But it is true.
Regardless, if the team doesn't take a wide receiver or a tight end in the first round, I almost contradicted myself and then realized Gronkowski was a 3rd-round pick. My bad. Peyton Manning probably have like 100 touchdowns to first-round picks. How many does Drew Brees have? Was Michael Thomas a first-round pick?
No, I don't think
second
so.
Round.
Second-round pick. How many does Drew Brees have? How many does Brett Favre have?
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers both. I mean, they had receivers to throw to. I mean, when Green Bay went to the Super Bowl in 2011, I think they had probably the best assembly of targets that we've seen since like the greatest show on turf. I mean, you had Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, a rookie Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb when he was, I think, second year in the league, Jermichael Finley.
We literally just said you can get a 7th-round wide receiver and still be productive in the NFL.
Yeah.
Narrative is literally just bullshit. rather follow the Russell Wilson's never gotten an MVP vote, which is going to change this year, narrative than, Aaron Rodgers has only ever thrown 2 touchdown passes to a first-round pick. Who cares? It's not impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
In reality, at the highest, you get 5. Maybe, and this year's the exception. I think there were 7 wide receivers in a first-round pick, in a first round. There's been years when there's been 2. There's been years when there's been 3. Why is that impressive?
Because when you get a guy in the first round, there's expectations that they're going to be a stud right out of the gate. Like when the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb at 17, it was like, oh my God, look what Dak Prescott just got. They got CeeDee Lamb. He's already going to be an integral part of that offense. Rodgers has never really had that in the first round. That is, go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins in the first round or anything like that. He's never had that. It's always been guys that they've drafted in the second or third rounds from smaller schools that maybe had a little bit of draft credibility, but he still made them better.
I was not prepared to have this fight today, so I'm just checking my facts here. Let's see. Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, 3rd round pick. Mike Evans, 1st round pick. We just established Michael Thomas, 2nd round pick. I believe Julio Jones was most definitely a 1st round pick.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
I'm just looking up the top receivers in the league right now, just to see how many of them were actually 1st round picks.
I mean, Odell was.
Odell was.
DeAndre Hopkins was. Julio Jones was. Stephon Diggs.
Landry was round 2, which he's obviously the number 1. Let me look up NFL receiving stats, and we'll go from there. Stephon Diggs.
He wasn't the first.
Round pick. DK Metcalf, if I remember correctly, was like a 3rd round pick.
He should have been a 1st round pick.
He should have been.
But he had issues. Amari Cooper's 3rd in the
No, he
league,
didn't.
1st round pick. What?
No, he didn't. Can we stop and talk about that for a second? About how
it was so stupid. Yeah, it was
every
so
couch
stupid.
GM was wrong.
Like,
He
an
can't
injury, my
run
bad.
routes. That's all they said. I heard this constantly while I was doing draft profiles. He can't run routes. He can't run routes. He doesn't need to run routes. He's 6'3".
It was
He's like 250 pounds.
It was only because his 3 cones reel was swung. That's the only reason people started saying that. And
He's a freak.
You know what I'm saying? That was so good. Him and AJ Brown.
We lost you again. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, DK Metcalf's a freakish athlete. He should have been a 1st round pick.
So, of the top 10 receivers in the NFL, finishing up right now, he was a 2nd round pick. He was a 1st round pick this year. And last but not least, okay, so of the top 10 receivers in the NFL, 7 of them were not 1st round picks.
Like currently, or
Him not throwing to a 1st rounder is not impressive because there are other holes on a team that need to be filled. You have Belichick drafting defense in the 1st round every year.
Yeah.
That narrative isn't impressive.
I think it's still impressive. You know what's not impressive?
Oh boy.
Getting to the Super Bowl 9 times when you don't have a top 10 defense only twice. That's not really that impressive.
I mean, 9
Just
Super Bowl
saying.
appearances isn't impressive.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 Super Bowl appearances itself is impressive
Well,
in 20 years.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like
That's
the
literally
fact that
almost half of the Super Bowls.
only 2
Like, when
times in his career, didn't have a top 10 defense.
When you started at
He holds the record for most pass yards in a Super Bowl.
And lost.
That's fine.
That game.
That's absolutely fine. He still went to 9 Super Bowls in 20 years.
I feel like we're about to get
Phony
into
goat.
Rodgers is better than Brady, and we just need to move on.
He is better than Brady. If he was,
Oh my God!
if Rodgers was drafted by New England, they would have won 8 Super Bowls. He's a better quarterback. He does more with the ball. Tom Brady does 10-yard dump-offs to receivers that are more talented than he is.
Okay,
Look
now,
at him
okay,
coming out of
whoa,
college.
no. Stop that right there.
That's facts. It's
Oh,
facts.
no. Let me finish. Tom Brady started the dump-offs in the last 5 years because he knew as well as anybody else that his arm didn't have it anymore. It still doesn't have it anymore. He's still throwing ducks.
Dump-offs.
Patriots adjusted to his old age and him still being able to read the defense. Now, as you can tell, Tampa Bay is not doing the same thing. They just happen to have a really good defense. So it doesn't matter what Tom Brady does. And if anybody tries to tell me those 5 touchdown passes were impressive against a destroyed Chargers defense.
No, they're not. They're not. I don't care about those 5 touchdowns.
I think it was actually Bryce. Well, he still had 5 touchdowns.
Yes, he did. Hey,
It's impressive when you're versing a destroyed secondary like the Chargers.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it was cool. I mean, I was excited that Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, but I also was, he was playing against a terrible Atlanta defense that I don't even know who was in their secondary yesterday. So I kind of expected him to do that going into this game.
Brady got to a shootout and still won.
With a rookie quarterback. Come on. Come on. Justin Herbert.
Tom Brady is still actively throwing ducks on the field. He threw another pick 6.
Yeah, that's becoming his identity on offense. It's kind of like what you get into a game with Tom Brady. It's like, when's
Tom Brady being relevant.
All right, here
He threw 5 touchdowns.
I have a hot take. I have a hot take. I am predicting that Tom Brady will throw a pick 6 interception in week 6 of the NFL season to Jair Alexander.
5. It's gonna be week 5 because they're versing each other this weekend.
No, we're in a bye week.
Oh yeah, 18. So I just pulled up their schedule real quick. Let's talk about how good the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really are.
Yeah, let's see it.
Tampa Bay lost to New Orleans, who can't figure out their 2020 identity in week 1.
Nope.
34-23.
They had Mike Thomas week 1.
They did.
That's their identity.
So you're very choppy again, Bryce. I don't know what it is with your sound.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe these headphones. But can you hear me?
All right, so week 2, they beat the Panthers. What are the Panthers?
They won last week. What did they beat?
Yeah, they're 2-2. They're also beating up on bad teams. 31-17.
They played a good team last week. They played the Cardinals. You got Kyler Murray.
Whatever you just did, do it again because it's what's perfect for your sound.
I said you got Kyler Murray. That's who they played.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then they beat up on the Broncos 28-10. Oh, the Patriots with no quarterback are probably going to beat the freaking Broncos. And then they barely squeaked out a win on the rookie Chargers with no secondary. Rookie quarterback Chargers, 38-31. Now they go into a game against the Bears. They're going to win that.
I think they're going to lose that game.
They're going to lose to the Bears.
I think Chicago is actually going to win that game. I don't like predicting that Chicago is going to win anything as a Packers fan, but I think that Tampa Bay offensive line is not ready for a Khalil Mack and a Akeem Hicks and a Robert Quinn to come after Tom Brady. I think Brady's going to hit the ground a lot, and I think Chicago's going to keep it close. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to get Nick Foles, get some open receivers, and I think they're going to win that game. And I think the sorry Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to come walking into their stadium, and they're going to have to face the best team in the NFC, now fully healthy.
After they have the Bears, they go into the Packers. Well, the Packers come to them. Easy loss. Then the Raiders. You think they're going to lose to the Raiders?
No, that was the Green Bay. I think they beat the Raiders.
Okay, so Raiders, Giants. That's going to be an easy win.
That's a dub.
Then they got the Saints again. At this point, I'm going to say that's probably a win without the Saints are playing.
Yeah.
Then they got the Panthers again.
I think Carolina could steal a game from them.
Then the Rams.
That's a loss.
Chiefs.
Loss.
All right, Bryce, I am going to have to pull you off due to your sound issues.
All right, Jake, hit me.
All right, let me get back to it real quick. So let's go. We're going to restart this, and we're going to keep track. So we're at 3-1.
Okay.
Bears, do you think they're going to
Loss.
lose? Packers,
Loss.
Raiders.
Win.
So you got them at 4-3 so far. Giants,
Win.
5-3. Saints,
Win.
6-3. Panthers,
I think they lose that game.
6-4. Buccaneers.
What?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Buccaneers. Rams,
Loss.
Chiefs.
Loss.
We're at 6-6. Vikings,
Win.
Falcons,
Win.
Lions,
Win.
Falcons.
Win.
So we're looking at about 10-6. We're looking at 10-6
I think that's a
by
fair
your
bet.
prediction.
I think bringing in Tom Brady first year in that system, I think 10-6 is kind of all you can really hope for.
Wow. So I just realized which banner is up, and we got on a huge tangent.
Yeah, we did. I was like, wait, it's just like who's going to replace Bill O'Brien?
That was about a 20-minute tangent.
Yeah.
So we're going to go right into the New England Patriots QB situation without Cam Newton.
It's time to end the narrative that Jared Stidham is a legitimate NFL starter. He sucks. He's trash. Throw him away. He cannot play in the NFL. Just play Brian Hoyer because at least he's a veteran and knows how to play quarterback in the NFL, and try to hold. He's a veteran, and it seems like Bill Belichick kind of likes him.
I'll give you the veteron part, but he's not a solid backup.
No, he's not a solid backup. I'm not saying that, but at least he's not Jared Stidham. Run the ball. They've been really good with running the ball. Just keep running the ball. Hand it off to that one running back that they have now that had 100
Damian
yards.
Harris.
Him, yeah. Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White, run the ball. Julian Edelman looks scared to catch the ball. I think it's time to cut bait with him, but you need to trade for somebody else to replace him because there's no receivers on that team. And just wait for Cam to come back, and then maybe you can scrape together 9-10 wins. That defense is going to keep you in games.
I was going to say, if they can make the playoffs, I can see them realistically making it through the wild card round and then having some issues.
Yeah, the problem is who they're going to play in the wild card round. If they face a Tennessee team or an Indianapolis team that's just as good as they are on defense, yikes.
Heather, Brian Hoyer might legitimately be the worst backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's probably
only second to Jared Stidham.
Yeah, it's not looking good for New England.
Super late to the party, but is that a Packers jersey the day after we get home from Wisconsin? Well, first things first, that's my lovely wife. As she yells in the other room. He's a Packers fan, babe.
Die hard.
100%?
What
are the odds? 100%.
Yeah.
Given the fact that we do this show every week.
Yeah, right.
So, Heather, what about Hoyer, you ask? As I just said, over and over.
He's not good, but he's capable of not. I don't know. Maybe you throw the kicker in. I don't know.
At this point, I think I trust Julian Edelman playing quarterback for the game than either one of these two.
Edelman in there, and Keel Harry could play quarterback.
I'm going to be honest, Brandon. I'll take the rookie Nate Stanley over Jared Stidham and Brian Hoyer at this point.
I don't know who the backup is in Minnesota.
Honestly, I think Nate Stanley got cut, and he's on the practice squad, but I'm going to take him over these two schmucks.
Is he one of those, 46 Madden overall quarterbacks?
Yeah, actually, I think he's 52 overall.
Their throw power is 57.
So Heather's been asking very, very specific quarterback questions today.
Sure.
I'm trying to find the first one because I ignored it by accident. It was Wilson and there it is. Rodgers and Wilson. Who's better?
Rodgers.
That's a very fair question, though.
It is a fair question. Russell Wilson's one of my favorite players in the league, and I might have be a little biased here. But Rodgers is the better quarterback. I mean, I could say that without question. I mean, for the last 5 years since the 2014 NFC Championship game where Wilson broke my heart into a million pieces and then stomped all over it. Rodgers has beaten him, I think, in almost every meeting that they've had. Wilson maybe has better stats, but I think it's going to be the year that Wilson gets some MVP votes, but Rodgers' team is better, so Rodgers actually snatches the MVP from him. But
I agree with you. I'll start this. I do agree with you that Rodgers is the better quarterback. I just think Wilson can do more with his game than Rodgers can.
Yeah,
because Rodgers can
more mobile.
Exactly. Rodgers can roll out, but you'll see Rodgers rather not.
Yeah.
Wilson has no problem rolling out, extending that play.
Yeah, and I think that also has to do with, Rodgers is, I don't want to say conservative because by no means is he playing conservative right now. But, he's trying to conserve his body. He's in it for the long haul right now. Russell Wilson's still relatively young. I think he's 30 or 31 years old. Rodgers is 36. 31. So he's got a little bit of years on him still. And he wants to preserve those as long as he can. He's chasing Brady for, most time played.
So Brandon, avid Vikings fan, says he would take me as the backup in Minnesota. Now, I can tell you right now, I can probably read a defense better than Nate Stanley.
I think you could read a defense better than Kirk Cousins, but that's...
At this point, I have to agree. However, I had some medical issues. I can't throw the ball downfield as far as I used to. When I was a high school quarterback. Okay. Exactly. So I fit in perfectly in Minnesota, and I would just put Thielen on the slant, Jefferson doing an out route, and just those two all day.
There you go.
Heather again with a very specific question: Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady right now. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's a loaded question because athletic wise, there's no question that Aaron Rodgers can do more with the football. I will never try to take Tom Brady's achievements away from him by saying that he didn't earn all those rings because he did. He's a 6-time Super Bowl.
You literally just tried to take those achievements away.
I was making the point that if Aaron Rodgers had the attributes or the stuff that Tom Brady had throughout his career, he would have more accolades, which is probably true. But if you look at them pound for pound as what they can do with the football, what they do on the field, Aaron Rodgers is clearly the better quarterback. I mean, when at any point in any part of playing quarterback in the NFL, besides winning championships, which is a team accomplishment, when has Tom Brady been the best at any part of that position?
2007.
Right. Okay, 1 year. I can name several years. No. I'm saying, and I'm not talking about stats-wise. I'm talking about by aspect of playing quarterback. When was he the best accuracy-wise? When was he the best at...
Do you really just say when he went 16-0, he wasn't the best quarterback in football?
Wait, when they were in 2007? No, I said he was the best quarterback in football. I said no part of his game. Like Drew Brees. At Drew Brees' peak, he was the most surgical quarterback in the league. In Rodgers' peak, he would dime up defenses down the field. He could, throw the Hail Mary. He was one of the most cerebral quarterbacks in the league. I've never seen that from Tom Brady where I shot like, oh, he does that better than anybody else.
He picks apart defenses' weaknesses better than any quarterback in history. Right there. Best football IQ of any quarterback ever.
I'd argue that was Peyton Manning, but you could definitely make a case that Peyton Manning has the highest football IQ.
I will give you that. They both go hand in hand, and that's evident. The only thing Brady has over Manning, in all honesty, is championships. Everything else is the same.
And I'd also argue that Aaron Rodgers has a higher football IQ. With what Aaron Rodgers does with the hard count and catching guys, 12th man running off the field, think about the amount of points he's scored off of free plays because he was able to...
All the same stuff Tom Brady's doing. Well, I haven't seen him do much of that this year, but all the same stuff Tom Brady was doing with New England. This year's an awful year for Tom Brady. It's disguised by a great defense and solid receivers.
Oh, yeah. It's Wizards Michael Jordan right now.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be happening.
There's no way that Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl. He doesn't even make it out of the NFC South.
Yeah, I agree.
How does Dan Quinn still have a job? Go ahead. Hit me, Austin.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's time for Art. What's the name of their owner? I know he's Art something. I don't know, but he needs to fire Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is the problem in Atlanta. That whole coaching staff needs to go. Matt Ryan is not the issue. Matt Ryan's actually a very capable quarterback. I've been very critical of Matt Ryan in the past. But he's shown with weapons that he can be a capable quarterback. And when he was in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he was the MVP. So I can't take that away from him. I don't think Matt Ryan's the issue. The issue is they don't know how to draft well. As of lately, their draft has been kind of terrible. Taking A.J. Terrell in the first round, I thought was a severe reach. He was not
My
that great.
My fantasy team says otherwise, first of all.
What's up?
My fantasy team, for when he didn't have COVID, says otherwise because he is averaging 15 points a game on defense.
He's averaging 15 points a game on defense? You play fantasy defense?
Yeah, so I'm in a dynasty league with a bunch of guys from GCSN. I don't know where you were when we started this league.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel left out now.
So when we have an opening, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But we have – actually, you're second on the wait list now, but not the point. Maybe I'll expand to 14 teams next year.
Okay.
But so we have full offense like normal. And then everybody on defense is its own – we had to draft them. So, like, I have Jadeveon Clowney. I have A.J. Terrell. I have Landry. And each tackle is X amount of points. Each sack is X amount of points. Interceptions, pass deflected. A.J. Terrell is having a quietly good season. And I only know that physically because he's averaging 15 points in 3 games on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, he might be playing well. I was just talking about, his draft stock as far as, where he was on my boards. I had him, I think, 5th or 6th corner on the board. I just didn't think too much of him. I mean, I'm a Clemson guy. I'm big on Clemson. So him coming out of Clemson, I liked him, but it was not like, oh, this is the guy that, you take in the first round.
Bring the camera down.
Oh. There we go. Yeah. No,
but if he ends up being the second best cornerback out of this draft behind C.J. Henderson, then they look like a genius for reaching that high. And that's as of right now, that's what it looks like. I think he has an interception as well this year.
Yeah.
So you said that the entire coaching staff in Atlanta needs to be fired.
Yeah, gutted.
Okay.
Gone.
Hold that thought. I disagree. There's one reason I disagree. Dan Quinn put it all on the coaches and fired everybody last year. They're all on their first year.
That's true. I honestly didn't think about that. That's true.
So when Dan Quinn's like, hey, Arthur Blank, I need another year at this. Let me fire everybody because they all suck. The blame's only on one guy now. I'm not willing to say that we need to completely gut the coaching staff because they're all in year 1. He literally already did that.
I agree to an extent. My issue with that is when you bring in a new guy, say they bring in a guy like a Lincoln Riley or a Dabo Swinney or something like that. Those are guys who are going to want to hire their own coordinators and assistants. And having those guys that are already there, already having the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator set from when Dan Quinn was there, that's not going to sit well with whoever comes in unless they, they can strike and, have chemistry right off the bat. I don't see that being the case in Atlanta.
I do fully agree with the offensive and defensive coordinator. No matter what, when you bring a new coach in, they have to go.
Yeah.
Everybody else, though, all the offensive line coach, the defense, they can probably get another year.
Their wide receivers coach needs to stay.
Yeah. So I like this comment because I like talking about the Jaguars. No one talks about the Jaguars. What is your thoughts on how far they will get in this season, and what is your feeling on the quarterbacking coach? Doug Marrone needs to be fired.
Yeah, I agree. Doug Marrone is kind of overstayed his welcome in Jacksonville. He never really has accomplished much except for that 2017 season. I just don't see a place for him there anymore. Can we stop with the Gardner Minshew hype? He's not that good.
He's the next Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, exactly. He's the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. If I'm Jacksonville and I have the first round pick in the draft, which with the way Atlanta and Detroit and now Dallas is playing, that might not be the case. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. the following quarterbacks are on my team: Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Outside of Lamar Jackson,
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'd keep Kyler. Yeah, outside of that, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence if I have that.
I agree.
Jacksonville is still taking Trevor Lawrence if they get the chance. If not, they're probably going to draft another defensive stud that they'll let go in 5 years because they don't know how to re-sign anybody. My biggest thing with Jacksonville...
So that's where I was going to go once you paused. Yeah. So had they gotten rid of Doug Marrone when they got rid of Tom Coughlin? Because the culture didn't change. Let's be real. Tom Coughlin instituted a culture that Doug Marrone kept, and it's still going, which is why the players goddamn hate it there.
Yeah.
So had they gotten rid of both of them at the same time, like they should have, you would still have Jalen Ramsey on that team.
AJ Boye, Yannick
Ngakoue, Calais
Campbell. They just traded away a really
Fowler.
Good safety to the Browns.
Ronnie Harrison.
Yeah, Ronnie Harrison. Yeah, they have guys on that team that are capable. Miles Jack is a stud. Josh Allen is a stud. Caleb Shason is going to be a stud. I mean, they have
CJ Henderson.
CJ Henderson is going to be a stud. They had a defense that would rival, San Francisco last year or New England this year, but they don't know how to re-sign contracts. And I really think that the best move for them is to sell the team. They need to get out of Jacksonville.
Oh.
I'm sorry, not sell the team. Relocate.
My family's doing great.
Yeah, relocate. I know it's a pipe dream to expand the NFL internationally, but come on. The London Jaguars, it's nice. It'd be a huge market. You'd have NFL players that are, in free agency that would actually want to go there because of how, expansive the market is.
Would they want to go there?
I think they would.
The sole reason is how much more travel is put on that team.
That's true. That's the only thing that I think is holding the NFL back is because it's kind of an unfair advantage. Unless you're on the East Coast, I mean, it's a travel to go from, California to England. So I think that's kind of what is holding them back from doing that right now. But as a player who likes to see the leagues I support expand, I would love to see the NFL go international and get a team in, London, but it's not.
I see 4 teams in Canada before a team in London. The CFL just folded. Now's the perfect time to move into Canada.
Yeah.
So give me 4 expansion teams right off the top. Give them their own division. Do whatever you need to do. Give me Toronto. Give me Montreal. Give me Calgary. Give me Vancouver.
Yeah.
You hit every big market in Canada right there off the top.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to see the NFL expand like that.
The problem is the NFL can't even sustain 32 sustainable quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Let alone now 36.
Well, I kind of disagree with that because I think we're going to hit a point in the next 3 or 4 years where there's not really going to be a need for quarterbacks. I mean, if you think about it, the wave of older veteran quarterbacks is kind of on its way out. Tom Brady and Drew Brees don't have much longer. Big Ben doesn't have much longer. Those guys are going to be gone. So if you give, Pittsburgh gets a quarterback and then New England has Cam for right now. Cam's 30 years old. We don't know how much left he has left in the tank. He could play another 10 years. Same thing with Russell Wilson. He's probably not going to, but he could.
Cam Newton at best has 5 years left in him.
Fair enough. I think we're really going to reach a point where there's not going to be a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. It's going to be they need everything else. I mean, the Jets, I think Sam Darnold's capable. Someone's going to get Trevor Lawrence. Someone's going to get Justin Fields. Someone's going to get Trey Lance. Then next year, someone's going to get Spencer Rattler. There's not going to be as big of a need for quarterbacks as there is right now, with teams like Washington probably needs a quarterback. And as much as I like Dwayne Haskins, I think he's just.
Never seen this is interesting because we've never seen a point in NFL history where we can say we have 32 solid starters in the NFL. Barring injuries, of course.
Yeah, I just think, if you look in like the AFC West, Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. They're going to have him forever. The Chargers now have Justin Herbert. The Broncos have Drew Lock, who I think can be a legitimate starter. The Raiders have Derek Carr, and even if they move off of him, like I think they will, okay, now the Raiders, I think they're going to bring in Trey Lance. There's going to be multiple divisions that have solid quarterbacks all the way down. So there's going to be a kind of not a need for quarterbacks as much as there is right now. And I do think that is going to happen. Even if you take a division like the NFC West, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, those are all 4 capable starters. I mean, once Detroit might need a quarterback. Chicago's probably going to need a quarterback. Minnesota maybe. But Green Bay doesn't need a quarterback. Green Bay's got Aaron Rodgers, and they're in the process of coaching up Jordan Love for the next 3 years.
We'll see how that works, though. It's very
that.
unlikely that they're about to get a Favre to Rodgers to Love and be sustainable and get 1 Super Bowl in the next 20 years.
No, I think Love will be good. I think he'll pan out. We don't get to see rookie quarterbacks sit enough. And that's what Green Bay's good at, is making them sit.
Did Favre sit?
But he wasn't a rookie in Green Bay. He was a second-year quarterback, and then he got put in after a Don Majkowski injury. Favre was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons.
Why did I not know that?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in 1991.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was drafted by the Packers. So
Nope.
All right, well, we got about 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Austin, how the hell were you? This show was wild. Let's start.
This one went all over the place.
We now decide on this show being kind of a wild show.
Yeah, I like it though. It feels like undisputed. Like it's just all of us going back and forth. It's a much more chaotic environment.
You thrive in the chaos.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love it. Bryce, I don't know about him. I don't know if he thrives in the chaos like we do. He more or less is just here to listen to me scream, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tomorrow. Don't forget, we have the Squared Circle Talk talking about wrestling, all of the retribution unveiling. Thursday, we have Inside the Ice and Behind the Basket hitting on the NBA Finals, and NHL free agency is doing stuff, I guess. I don't know. I don't follow hockey that closely.
Me neither.
Sunday morning, we have Circus Monkey Sports with Gavin and talking about fantasy studs and fantasy sits, drops, and I'm still tired from my 20-hour drive, guys. Cut me a break. I'm stuttering over my own words. And then we wrap back around on Monday in baseball and talk about the baseball playoffs. Me, Austin, and hopefully Bryce with good sound. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. We love all of you.